the connection to the wife and her history and her departure from the U.S., just what do you think?
Well, as we've just heard, it's not something unusual. And actually what we need to be aware of is that with the process of radicalization, I think it's almost impossible for close family members, especially spouses, to not notice anything. And in most cases, they are aware and in some cases sympathize with their radicalized spouse. And all of the indications here point to awareness at least.
What do you make of the discussion we had in our last block about this guy traveling to, Pakistan, to Quetta, coming back, didn't get on anybody's radar, called a terrorist by his father, no problem apparently for the FBI?
Megyn, you see, the city of Quetta isn't just a city you go and visit in Pakistan. I'm of Pakistani origin. It would be incredibly strange for me to visit Quetta. Now, I have visited Quetta, but I have visited Quetta to speak to hundreds of youth in the universities to warn them against joining extremist groups. The reason you wouldn't visit Quetta ordinarily is, first of all, Afghans aren't originally from Quetta. It would be strange for him to have family based in Quetta. If he went to Peshawar, I could probably understand it a bit more. But secondly, it's a conflict zone. It's like the average American getting up and going to see Belfast at the height of the troubles in Northern Ireland. It's a war zone. There's currently a civil war going on in Quetta. That in itself should have raised alarm bells for American authorities.
We've been talking on the show the past couple of days about whether we are turning into Israel, and we can expect more of these attacks, and this is the new reality. What do you think?
Well, I'm clearly from Europe and from London. We've had a summer of madness and terrorism there. I think that the extremists have been planning to delay their attacks in America until it's closer to the US elections. ISIS on their chat forums, and I'm not saying this chap was with ISIS, but on their chat forums, they've been suggesting that they would seek to influence the US elections. I think they would favor a Donald Trump win because it makes it easier for them to radicalize others against America.
Why? I mean, just because he talks tough on terror?
I'm always wary of saying ISIS wants this, so let's not do it. I mean, at the end of the day, ISIS doesn't want us to breathe, but we still have to breathe, right? But it is important for us to be aware that extremists are interested in being able to point to a head of state that they can clearly identify as being antagonistic to them, which then helps their narrative in that they want to posit the West as being at war against Islam and Muslims.
But here in this country, we've been having this debate about whether President Obama, who's of the same mindset, I think he doesn't want to do anything to sort of play into that narrative that we're at war with the Muslims of the world, about whether he needs to call the enemy what it is, the war against radical Islam, not Islam, but radical Islam. Where do you stand on it?
Well, we have to absolutely call it by what it is, and there are major reasons for that. First of all, if we don't actually identify Islamism and Islamist extremism by its name, it makes it difficult, it makes it harder to isolate it from mainstream Islam and the average, ordinary, everyday Muslim. So, of course, then people are going to begin conflating the two. So one of the benefits of giving something a name is to differentiate it. Ironically, the very thing President Obama fears will come about if we are unable to name Islamist extremism.
And now, if you're advising the FBI in this case, given the pattern we're seeing, the profile of these domestic terrorists, I mean, they're terrorists, but they're American citizens or naturalized citizens in so many cases. What do you tell them? What do they need to be doing differently?
Well, I think behavioral and psychological profiling is what we need to be looking at here, because, of course, as we just saw, even with your short film before, Catherine Russell, white American, who seemed to have been aware of her husband's sort of desire to die as a martyr, but we also know that there have been white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed terrorists. But behavioral and psychological profiling is really important. And if we were doing that correctly, then I re-emphasize that it's odd for, say, the Tsarnaev brothers to get up and go and visit certain regions in Central Asia the way they did. And it's odd for Rahami to go and visit Quetta. That is not normal behavior.
That should put you on the FBI's radar.
Yeah, no Pakistani, especially a naturalized American citizen, who isn't of the ethnicity that belongs to the Quetta region, they're known as the Baloch. We know that Rahami was Afghan. No one who's naturalized in this country just gets up and lives in Quetta for a year. As I said, it's a conflict zone. It's incredibly unusual, even for Pakistanis to go and visit Quetta.
I have yet to hear anybody come out and say the FBI needs more resources, we need more money, we need more agents so that we can track these down. We just keep getting told it's hard, it's really hard, but we're doing a great job, which is becoming less and less believable. Maajid, thank you so much.
A pleasure. Thank you, Megyn.
Always a pleasure seeing you. Well, with both presidential candidates now talking to voters about the terror threat in America, President Obama today made a big announcement regarding his role in the Clinton campaign coming up. Mark Thiessen and Roland Martin are next on that. Plus, Larry Sabato is here tonight on why he changed his election prediction map, which he hasn't changed in months, with significant gains